Sunday. Dear God, let it be so. Hopefully, Sunday will be the end of a mediocre, disappointing era of football for this team. Now, of course, many of you are rightfully automatically assuming that I'm talking about Bears football! And I am. But I'm also representing the voice of the Vikings fans here that are hoping that this meaningless game on Sunday represents the end at least of the Mike Zimmer era of the Minnesota Vikings. And as we look ahead to this completely meaningless, worthless game on Sunday, which is exactly what it is, which isn't a surprise when you looked at these two teams heading into the season, there was a potential that this Week 18 matchup between the Vikings and the Bears was again going to be a meaningless ball game. It is important to acknowledge that Mike Zimmer is a fucking tool, and he needs to go. The whole shit about starting Sean Mannion instead of Kellen Mond, and then when asked about it, do you want to see Kellen Mond play? No. Why? Oh, because I see him in practice. Fired, you fucking idiot! Now, could you imagine, especially as the Packers were pollywopping the fucking Vikings on Sunday night, you allowed that embarrassment to go on with Mannion and put in Mond for one series, incredibly booty cheeks late in the game, and then when he throws almost one pick, you immediately yank it to put Mannion back in like that. That is the personification, the representation of why Mike Zimmer is a fucking chode, why Mike Zimmer is overrated as shit, and why Vikings fans are so desperately ready to get his conservative, dumb, backwards ass the fuck out of Minnesota. Did I capture that right, Vikings fans? I feel your pain, believe me. Now, would I enjoy, like, the Bears figuring shit out and the Vikings sucking hind tit for another year? Sure. But I'm trying to be fair and unbiased here. Only other than the fact that the bias is that Mike Zimmer fucking sucks. He's a defensive guy, yet his defenses continue to suck again this year. As easy as it is to blame Kirk Cousins, and don't get me wrong, it is foolish and stupid to have paid Kirk Cousins that much money to be a top 10 or 12 guy in the league. That's dumb. But the offense and Kirk Cousins are not the problem. Sometimes the conservative-ass play calling of the Vikings offense is a problem, and a sizable, significant one. You know, the fact that Kirk Cousins tested positive for COVID and he was out of that game against the Packers when the Vikings absolutely had to have it, that was a problem. But you can't even sit there and point to vaccination or non-vaccination status and say that that had any impact or any fucking difference at all at this point, frankly. Like, you could debate the science of whether or not, you know, being vaccinated or not will be better for you in terms of the symptoms you experience. The science relatively generally supports that vaccinated folks experience fewer symptoms. But it doesn't seem to have a whole hell of a lot of impact, at least from like a general observation on who's getting COVID and who's not. You got a bunch of players that are vaccinated that are fucking getting breakthrough cases. There's so many breakthrough cases, it doesn't matter. And then you got so many players that aren't fucking vaccinated and they're getting it too. So what the hell difference does it make? It's a fucking free-for-all. Didn't get on top of it at the beginning of 2020, so it is what it fucking is anymore. Tired of hearing about it. But outside of that, like, if you blame Kirk Cousins for this season, you're kind of a clown in and of itself. You blame the defense and you blame Mike Zimmer. So I totally get it. Like, he should be gone. Should have already been fired as soon as the Vikings were eliminated. Again, I don't know what the fuck they're waiting for. Same thing with Bears football! God, that fucking revelation the other day by Olin Kreutz talking about when Highstand was hired to coach the offensive line. They made an offer to Olin Kreutz to be an assistant, and they offered him $15 an hour, which is less than what like a middle school assistant coach gets. That is Bears football! Because you have a lot of Bears fans that get kind of curmudgeonly and kind of surly about, oh, this organization is cheap, they never want to pay anybody. That's not entirely true. The Bears, due to salary cap rules and so forth, have to pay players a certain amount. They have to have a certain amount of their money go towards the salaries of the players. And when you look at the fact that the Bears are basically ass cheeks up against the salary cap this year, that argument doesn't hold a whole lot of weight. Like, the Bears absolutely spend the money on the players. Where they go cheap is on the coaches, the scouts, the front office people. The stadium, that is where you see the epitome of the cheapness of the McCaskey way and Bears football. They see fucking Cameron Worrell's dumbass on Twitter talking about Ted Phillips has actually been really good at his job. You get hit in the head one too many fucking times, Cam. What stupid ass world are you living in? The Bears have a losing record against the Packers in that division over the past 2+ decades. In Ted Phillips' time, they have an overall losing record. They've won 0 Super Bowls. They've had numerous failed general managers and head coaches. And one stadium renovation that Ted Phillips was in charge of that was botched so magnificently that less than 2 decades later, we're already talking about the Bears wanting and needing a fucking new stadium, potentially in Arlington Heights. That's Bears football! And this is the type of stupidity that some former players and even some media try to put out there as a defense for somebody like Bean Cotton Tad. It's ridiculous. But oh my God. Thankfully, the end of the Bears season comes Sunday and not a moment too soon. And it's the end of the Matt Nagy era. We all know that. And what we're trying to figure out now is this going to be the end of the Ryan Pace era. Let's make this objective, factual statement. To reward somebody for 7 years of mediocre to crap with a promotion is idiotic. I tweeted about this the other day and I said, imagine you have a brand that's been around for over 100 years, like the Chicago Bears, and you put a middle-level executive in charge of your most important wing of that brand, which is the on-field product of the Chicago Bears. And imagine that they fail to turn a profit in 7 years, which is basically what the Bears have done with their losing record under Ryan Pace, no playoff wins. You get the fucking drill. Multiple head coaches that have failed, multiple quarterbacks that have failed. Like, you get the picture. Failed to turn a basic profit. So you take a look at that and you decide that not only are you not going to fire that person and replace them with somebody potentially more competent to do the job, you're going to reward that failure by promoting them. That makes no fucking football sense. That makes even less business sense. So anytime you hear anybody saying anything about I could defend Ryan Pace, you can't. Stop fucking doing it. Because all you're doing is being aggravating for the purpose of being aggravating. It's not even a good troll because some of you dumb dicks actually fucking believe this dumb shit. And where are you setting the standard that mediocrity is not accepted? I know we're talking about the mediocrity of the McCaskey way, so everybody fucking seems content and happy and fine with that. They don't give a shit. But seriously, let's hope this is the end of the Ryan Pace era. We'll promote him to team president. So what? For a guy that's already been a part of 2 failed head coaching hires, he not only is a part of a 3rd one, but now he also ultimately gets to hire his own failed general manager where you know goddamn good and well he's not going to sit there and fucking leave shit alone and he's going to have a ton of say-so. Oh, that's going to work out well. Oh, he's better than Ted Phillips. Oh, what a low fucking standard that is! Because the current guy sucks is not a reason to automatically put somebody else in and say, well, worst case scenario, they do better than the other job. What a low fucking standard you set and allowed to be set. Stop that shit. But of course, the pain and punishment can't be left there. Of course, Justin Fields, when you're thinking he might get one last start for the season, you might have one little thing, a little glimmer of hope to be excited for week 18. He's out due to COVID. And of course, because that's what Matt Nagy is going to do, even though he put in Foles, and Foles won the game against the Seahawks and played far better than Dalton did against the fucking scrub-ass Giants, he's going to start the Red Rocket come week 18. Fucking Matt Nagy is going to ride it out. Matt Nagy is going to fucking be stubborn to the fucking end. Give him credit for that. He's stubborn in his stupidity, but at least he's going out his way. All I'll say for this game on Sunday is, who really gives a shit? Let's hope a guy like Justin Jefferson goes out and kills it. Let's hope the Bears will sit there and do fucking double reverse passes and fake field goals and fake punts. You two teams literally have nothing to play for but draft positioning for two failed coaches, two lame duck regimes. Let's just go out there and go total balls to the walls here. We can only hope for that. Hope that it is, for once, not a NFC North black and blue Bears football type of matchup, but something you could actually get interested in. Because even last week when the Bears are beating the brakes off of the scrub-ass Joe Judge Giants, like that game was boring as shit from beginning to end. I hope this one, at least if nothing else, is not going to be boring. But I'm assuming Kirk Cousins is going to play, which to me gives the Vikings an advantage here. Although the Vikings in recent years, the Bears have kind of had their number at least a little bit. So I look at this one and I say, I think the Vikings will win something like 27-20. Like 27-20, some shit like that. Who fucking cares? I'm so happy that this Bears season's about over. I know you are too. And if you're a Vikings fan, same fucking thing. Your thing, though, is you're waiting to see whether Mike Zimmer is going to get fired. And he better. He absolutely better be fired. Because there is no justification for this shit.